Thanks, Marissa. So today we're going to take you through 30 minutes on your lunch hour. We thank you all for joining. I'm going to take a few quick minutes to talk about the presenters, both myself and Craig Krause. Then we will go into the meat of the webinar, how to reduce your Oracle application and database support costs. And then we will follow up with any additional questions that you folks have out there. So my name is Marcy Newell. As mentioned, I am the Executive Vice President here at Tier 1, and I head up the Sales and Marketing Organization. I have 20 years of sales experience and have been at Tier 1 for just over 15 years. Craig?
Thanks, Marcy. My name is Craig Krause. I'm the President and Chief Operating Officer. Like Marcy, celebrating my 15 years with Tier 1 this year. And like Marcy, my 20 plus years of experience, not directly with sales, but exclusively with Oracle technology. And my role here at Tier 1 is I oversee the delivery of all of our services, including managed services.
All right, thank you, Craig. So I'm going to take you through a couple of quick slides on Tier 1 and who we are, and then we'll get into the meat of the webinar. So again, thanks for joining us. Some of you may know us out there, but for those of you who don't, Tier 1 is an Oracle certified partner. We've been in the Oracle consulting space since 2003, and we are focused 100% exclusively on Oracle technologies, Oracle E-Business Suite, Hyperion, both EPM and ERP Cloud, as well as the Oracle databases, and we are based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And around these Oracle products, we provide full lifecycle solutions. We can host your databases and applications in Tier 1's private Oracle Cloud. We provide 24/7 managed services for technical, functional, and DBA support. And then we can provide traditional consulting project services like implementations, upgrades, integrations, customizations, pretty much anything around the E-Business Suite and or Hyperion, we have seen it at one point or another. And then moving on, there's a lot of companies out there that do what we do. If you've ever been to an Oracle show and walked through the vendor hall, you see lots of booths set up, and it can be quite overwhelming at times. But like I said, we've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and if you follow along with me from the top left-hand corner, you'll see that we're not too big, not too small. We consider ourselves a great size. About 60 employees, and it's a good sweet spot where we have customers that have been supported by the same Tier 1 consultants for well over 10 years. Then moving over clockwise, we are a consulting company, and we provide customized individual support to each and every different opportunity out there. So we don't have a one-size-fits-all offering. We take the time to talk to you through meetings and phone calls to understand what you're looking for and to really make the best custom fit for what you need. Moving along, senior executive involvement. As Craig mentioned, he's our COO and president. Everybody who touches a keyboard ultimately rolls up to him. Both Craig and Rob Gudarelli, who is Tier 1's CEO, are actively involved with all steps of our sales cycle, which is pretty rare for companies of our size. Rob and Craig will sit down with you, shake your hand, offer their cell phone numbers to you, the prospect or the customer, as an escalation point to use that if anything should go wrong or to not to your liking during our engagement. So they are very involved with step-by-step of both sales and delivery. And then bottom left-hand corner, employee retention. So this is probably one of the metrics we're most proud of. Over 30%, 35% of the Tier 1 employees have been here for over 10 years, which is pretty rare in both consulting as well as IT. So that is something that we like to brag about. And then if you kind of put all four of these bubbles together in the middle here, this all kind of rolls together, and it allows us to have a customer retention rate of over 90% since Tier 1 was founded. And then if we move on briefly, this is kind of a quick slide of, there we go. This is just a quick slide of a sampling of Tier 1's clients. You'll see that we operate in all verticals. We have customers across pretty much any space that you can think of. And we can talk about this further if there's any questions, but you will receive this information post-webinar for a closer look. So as we dive into the webinar, one of the main questions that we see as a consulting firm in the Oracle marketplace is how can a customer, an Oracle applications or an Oracle database customer, reduce their support costs? And we put together a few slides for you that Craig is going to start with in regards to the challenges and risks that companies need to consider when they're thinking about their Oracle costs and getting outside support. So Craig, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Marcy. And to echo what Marcy had stated earlier, thank you all for carving out some time out of your lunch to sit with us today and discuss managed services. One of the things that we see a lot when we're out talking to customers, it involves challenges and risks. What a lot of folks want to understand, why is managed services a good fit for me? Why do I need more than my existing staff? And I think this slide has, 4 really major pieces of information that we'll talk through at a high level. The first we'll start on the left. It's the balancing of the workload. I think post-COVID and even pre-COVID, for a majority of cases, a lot of folks wear a lot of hats when they show up to work each day. They'll have project work in addition to whatever their normal day-to-day transactional tasks involve. And any disruptions to the flow, whether it be, employee illness, vacations, hopefully not a reduction in force, really impacts their ability to get things done. Sometimes they can stretch to meet those. Sometimes it involves pushing out deadlines and milestones. But in the end, it really, having a managed services partner in place can really help alleviate. And maybe just in times of surge, where we can come in and help folks get things across the finish line. We kind of talked about employee retention. We know a lot of folks out there right now are struggling. For those who are running Oracle EBS specifically, a lot of the staff are looking to get trained up in Oracle ERP Cloud or some other cloud technology because it's the buzzword right now. So we see some folks struggling to maintain their current staff, which then leads to gaps in knowledge and expertise around the existing business processes that need to be supported. Going down to the right, daily operations. In some cases, we're dealing with some folks who are on older hardware. Maybe they're not as reliable as they once were. Maybe they're now more concerned about cybersecurity. And the decision point comes to, hey, we need to do a refresh of our hardware. We need to update our operating systems. We need to get some third-party cybersecurity in place. Now is the time to have those conversations with, how do we supplement our current processes with managed services, whether it be in the form of DBA support, or we need some help from a business analyst, or in some cases, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the replacement of hardware would be a perfect time to talk hosting. And for us, hosting is part of our managed services offering, and it provides our customers the ability to move their environments even temporarily, while they continue to have their road mapping discussions on what the future of their ERP is going to look like. And then there's shifts in priorities. With the economic situation as it is now, we're in record-breaking inflation. Things are costing more. We all seem to be in the mode of trying to do more with less. With that, a lot of companies are pivoting to try and address these escalating supply chain costs that are impacting the bottom line. And sometimes, as a result of it, IT budgets become restricted on what they thought they were going to get, and back to doing less with more. And so the perfect time to try and alleviate some of those issues are bringing in someone like a Tier 1 who can help out part-time as needed, just to make sure you're getting the support that your business users deserve. And I will say at this point, at any point, if anything comes up that I say you'd like some further explanation on, please go ahead and submit a question in the chat box. And we have some time reserved at the end of the session to go ahead and address those. Moving on.
Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Good, Marcy.
I was going to say thank you for summarizing that. The next topic we want to discuss is what happens when there is unplanned downtime. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of a, for those who are familiar with ITIL, this is kind of a standard decision process of what really is the things that are at risk whenever there's an unplanned downtime. Some of these are very common sense. Some of them you might think about it and go, I never really, considered that as part of the triggering events. So at the top on the left there, you'll see lost productivity, and that really includes direct and indirect. From a direct perspective, if you run an ERP system and for some reason it is no longer available for whatever reason, and it's tied to any kind of manufacturing lines, we're now talking about bottom line production impact, which can be quickly calculated into lost revenue on the day. One of the things people don't think a lot of is the indirect impact of the employees. It used to be one of those things where something happens and everyone is supposed to be doing their job kind of with tunnel vision, but in reality, people stop. They're trying to talk what's happening with the system. Why isn't it down? I can't do this. I can't do that. And so you end up getting a lost productivity out of your employees or your users just because of what is happening. That leads to the potential revenue loss. So I think we touched upon that from the manufacturing side, but if you're someone in retail and you do orders or from an order to cash perspective, you can't ship product. That also has an impact if you're trying to meet end of the day deadlines to get your shipping out the door. Now we go to one that's a little more vague, dropping other business priorities to restore services. So this is more of an indirect cost of, and from a previous slide, we talked about as business users, a lot of you wear multiple hats during the day. Some of those might be implementing a new business process where we're running as a project. Others are day-to-day transactional, but it's usually a combination of both. So whenever your ERP system is down, you may have to drop your other priorities to focus on restoring services, which could then introduce delays into any other of the projects, internal projects you're working on, and they'll have, maybe not quantifiable impacts right away, but downstream impacts that you'll realize, a day to a week later in terms of all the schedules that were impacted, the domino effect, so to speak. And then there's also the case of coordinating multiple skill sets that you need to troubleshoot, whether that involves just your network team, your infrastructure team, or maybe a database administrator. In most cases of an outage, everyone thinks it's automatically has to be a server issue or an application issue, and in times, in reality, it could be simply something with the network, or your ISP has dropped and the application is no longer available to your remote employees. So it does require triage, and it does require multiple skill sets to go ahead and take care of that initial triage to understand where the issue is. And then perhaps they'll all have to remain involved for at least a limited amount of time on the initial troubleshooting for a resolution. With that,
Great.
The financial impact of the downtime, so all the things we talked about before, if you look at the formula, and this is everywhere if you want to go track this down on the Google machine, it's really a formula of the number of impacted employees multiplied by the productivity factor multiplied by the average hourly salary. So in the example calculation that we threw out there, if you have 1,000 employees and half of their productivity is impacted, and let's say the manufacturing floor is making $20 an hour, so for every hour of downtime there could be a potential impact of $10,000 to the business, and that gets multiplied as each hour passes.
Thanks, Craig. So how can we reduce the risk of this then?
Well, I think one of the things that we focus on at Tier 1, and we're very good at, and it helps differentiate our offering from most, is all of our managed services engagements, and I would say all of our engagements are personalized to fit the needs of our customers. No two customers are alike in their needs, and we're very flexible and knowledgeable of the fact that you may need part-time assistance, you may need only technical assistance, you might need only business analysts, or what we refer to as functional within the EBS world assistance, or some custom development every now and again. We can offer all of that at Tier 1 and offer it in a fashion that makes sense to your business. We don't get locked into, we have 3 types of offerings, let's call them silver, gold, and platinum, and try and fit your needs into one of those. So we make sure that all of our solutions address each of our customers' specific needs. With that comes, once we identify the solution to be implemented, then we can provide you a low, predictable, fixed monthly cost. We also can do those on a quarterly or annual basis because, going back up to the top one, it's really based upon the needs of our customers. And then lastly, everyone at Tier 1 who works in our delivery organization has at least 10 plus years of experience specific to their Oracle specialization, whether that's EPM, formerly known as Hyperion, Oracle EBS, or Oracle Database. So in most cases, most of our folks have 15 plus years of experience, and then a quarter of those are 20 plus years. So we have the expertise in-house to address the complete infrastructure, whether it be infrastructure-based, database, applications, development.
Great, thank you. So the next couple of slides are the Tier 1 ways, so to speak. So Craig, if you can take us through the managed services overview and how we structure our support team and deliver, that'd be great.
Yeah, great, Marcy. So from a managed services perspective, we're kind of delve into kind of what we do and how we do it. And I know some of this is going to be repetitive, so we won't spend a lot of time on a couple of these slides, but essentially this slide provides an overview of the services that we provide. A lot of the talk thus far has been around Oracle EBS and the database, but we don't want to lose fact that, we have very strong Hyperion offering. Also, I think it's been rebranded as EPM, Business Intelligence, Apex. So we see a lot of folks, whoever has an Oracle database or an Oracle database with EBS running on it, there's usually some kind of Apex development going on. And also, we also seem to find a lot of SQL Server installs in an Oracle shop. Your support team structure is created with the idea that we're going to provide you a set of individuals who will become familiar with your environment, and you're not shopping from a pool of resources where you open up a support request and the person who's responding has never seen your environment before. So with that said, we have the three areas here we want to talk about is creating a team of consultants who become intimately familiar, which I've touched upon. With that, gives us the ability to provide quick response times, and we do offer severity levels. We break those down into what we call severity 1, which is for the Oracle speak, everyone knows what that is. And basically everything else we refer to as a severity 2. Each of those have their own service level agreements in terms of response times. And for some reason, if the issue we are trying to resolve is unfamiliar to someone, or we seem to not be able to resolve it quickly, then we can leverage the experience and knowledge of the entire Tier 1 team. So we don't operate in silos. We are all very cross-functional, and we all work collaboratively to solve problems. The support team roles is the front of our organization is the customer success group, and each one of our managed services customers has a customer success director assigned to their account, as well as a backup in the event of the primary being unavailable for whatever reason. And the customer success director really works as a go-between between our customers and our support staff. Now, with that said, we never build walls so that our customers cannot speak directly with our support team, but rather the customer success role is there to ensure that when a support request comes in, the appropriate resource is assigned, is followed up on, and the request is resolved in a timely fashion. They're also there to understand when we may need to escalate and pull in resources from the extended support pool, which I've talked about in the previous slide, which is other members of the same practice area or expertise who may not be necessarily assigned to your account at the time. Which leads us to why Tier 1. So we've talked about kind of who we are, what we do, and this is a slide where it gets a little more salesy, where we're going to say, hey, why wouldn't you choose us? So we're a qualified partner. We've been an Oracle partner for each year of our existence, which has been 19 years now. We leverage only senior level resources for all of our delivery consultants. We provide named resource support teams, so you know exactly who is supporting your environment. And really the end goal is not for this to be a transactional relationship, but to be a relationship where you get to know the people who are on the other side of the phone, who are on the other side of the case management system, that you can develop a relationship with, understand everything that we're doing in support of your environment, but also to build a level of trust so that whenever you have questions about the ERP roadmap or the EPM roadmap or private cloud hosting, those folks are right there to help answer your questions, or they'll know who to pull in to have those conversations to provide you the consultancy that we're providing. And when you partner with us, you can focus on running your business, not managing your technology. So you can alleviate a lot of the day-to-day grind that some of your folks may be caught up in, and have them go off and do more, value-added project work that'll benefit the business. And as Marcy mentioned before, the executive sponsorship and project involvement. I oversee the delivery team here at Tier 1, whether it be project-based or managed services-based or private cloud hosting in all of our practice areas. And everybody in the organization knows that they can reach out to me and escalate an issue of, hey, we haven't seen this before, Craig, what do we need to do? Or we have an issue that we're unable to resolve as quickly as we thought, how should we handle this? And of course, I have a direct line to our CEO and owner, Rob Gudarelli, to escalate those as well, to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to provide you the solutions that you require. Which leads to our personal guarantee. So as we try to differentiate ourselves from all the other players in the field, the personalized solution, the named support staff, I think one of the things that gets the most attention is our CEO guarantee, which is simply, if you aren't happy, you don't pay. If you receive service that you feel is less than what you deserve, then take the invoice associated with that service and rip it up, and we'll shoot over a credit memo to make sure you're solid with the service that you're getting. And I think
Thanks,
that
Craig.
might lead us into the Q&A.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions that popped up, and I encourage you all to keep entering them in the last 5 minutes here. So Craig, one of the first questions we have received is, how do you separate project work versus managed services work? What if I would like to do an Oracle upgrade?
So in some cases, I should say in all cases, at Tier 1, we don't build silos from a project and a managed services side. Now, with that said, we do have some resources who prefer to do one or the other. So we try to accommodate their needs and basically try to accommodate their strengths so that we're providing the best face forward, whether it's a project or managed services. What we've learned is a lot of folks who do project work also do well in managed services work. So in the case of an upgrade project, we try to staff it with folks who are going to provide a successful experience for our customers. And then those same folks will be available on the support side, so we can leverage all the knowledge gained in the upgrade and provide the support, efficiently for our customers.
All right, great, thank you. The next question that popped up, are your resources located in the US?
Yes, so all of our resources are located in the US, with the exception of 3 gentlemen who we have in India for the follow the sun model of DBA support, so that if an issue is being worked during, let's just say Eastern Standard Time or US time, that we can have a handoff so that the issue can remain to be worked on through the evening hours until another handoff occurs early morning.
Okay, great. You mentioned logging and entering tickets. What is the ticketing system that you use?
So we currently are on the platform called Zoho. It is a software as a service application. So all you need to access it to get into the portal is a internet browser. But with that said, we don't limit ourselves to interactions with our customers through the case management system. At any time, our customers can pick up the phone and call their CSD or call the individual working on the issue and speak to them. We can also take support requests via email. We have a couple of email addresses available, so depending on the severity of the request, an email will open up a ticket for you, or our support team will open up a ticket on your behalf as well. Either way, whichever channel the information comes in, we try to make sure the end result is a ticket is opened, whether by our customers or by us, so that we have a record of it and can track it through resolution.
Okay, great. Well, I believe that was it for the questions for now as we get to the 12:30 mark. If we did not get to your question, we will be sure to follow up one-on-one. But we thank you all for your time. We know it's valuable, and you will be receiving a recording of this webinar by tomorrow. In the meantime, or in the future, if anything should pop up, please feel free to reach out to Tier 1 directly, as we're always happy to help. Thank you all.